Hey everyone, so here's a nice little hit piece from the media. I'm not sure when this specific article came out, but it's very telling of the blatant falsehoods being promoted by the mainstream media. In a Washington Post article, it was claimed that Ron Paul could be attributed to or was associated with someone who wrote the following, quote, "I think we can safely assume that 95% of black males in Washington are semi-criminal or entirely criminal," end quote. Meanwhile, the actual excerpt was this, quote, "Given the inefficiencies of what DC laughingly calls the criminal justice system, I think we can safely assume that 95% of the black males in that city are semi-criminal or entirely criminal," end quote. So there it is, complete disregard for the truth and a desperate Hail Mary attempt to smear libertarians by taking things way out of context. It does not take an English major to recognize whoever wrote this had a horrible bias and were clearly trying to slander libertarians and Ron Paul. The author of this supposedly racist comment was clearly smearing the ridiculous nature of our justice system and criticizing it for racist tendencies. Now, whether or not that is true is besides the point. The one thing we can say with absolute certainty is that the media will stop at nothing to smear their opponents. They're an absolute disgrace to how journalists should behave. Anyone who has sincerely read anything about libertarians know that at its core principle, it is extremely anti-racist and heavily in favor of treating people as individuals and not lumping them into some arbitrary group. Now, it is true that we think racist people have the right to be wrong when it comes to race. They shouldn't be jailed for holding ignorant, outdated, and archaic views, but that's about all the leeway we give to them. I don't want to be associated with them. I don't want to do business with them, but if they want to have their weird little parties in the woods, then that's their prerogative. And in fact, Ron Paul was one of the only politicians that offered real solutions to ending perceived racism within the governmental system. He was the only one calling for an end to the war on drugs, for example, which would make it no longer profitable to kill within inner cities to control black markets, thus ending a cycle of bloodshed and blocking the stupid reasons our government uses to arrest and jail people, thus destroying their family life and any prospect for a future job, and continuing this cycle of mayhem. Ron Paul was the only one battling against this, while other politicians didn't have the spine to do the right thing. All in all, this is just another piece of evidence to throw onto the pile as to why the media is filled with echo chamber dwelling, narrative driven, and dishonest people. Thanks, and that's all.